Alors, nous allons à présent...
So, now we are going to welcome 3 entrepreneurs who are truly committed. And you might think that they haven't had a usual career path, but to them, it was just something that they had to do, was obvious. So, together with Isabelle, we are welcoming Emine Eroy. You were a nurse by training. You now hold a master's degree in public health policies. You see, I got it right. And you're going to talk about your pathway in a few minutes. We have Anne-Céline Lescop, environmental lawyer. You are from a family of entrepreneurs, and I believe we will have the opportunity to talk about your experience also. And we also have Xavier Herman with us today. Xavier has more of a more traditional investor background, at least until now, but we'll talk about this in a few minutes, and he's going to talk about resilience and entrepreneurship. Before I ask the questions to you, I first would like to thank you for being here today, all 3 of you, in this current health situation, even though the technological tools don't always work properly. But as you can see, we have this breathtaking view of Paris. Aren't we lucky? Well, first, let's start with you, Emine. I'm very pleased to have you with us today. Emine, I remember your pathway. You've had all sorts of experiences, and if you look at everything you did, there was a thread, a common thread. Can you tell us a bit more about your experience and how this has led you to work at Tok. Maybe you're also going to say a few words about this company. Well, good evening. Thank you very much for this introduction. First, I'm going to talk about my personal career. It's quite simple, really. I spent my entire childhood abroad, more specifically in South Africa during the apartheid, and I was very much made aware of the unequal access to healthcare. My parents really made me understand this dire situation. As a child, I didn't quite understand what this really meant, and I think you need to understand it because when you innovate, usually it's because you have a childhood dream. And in my case, I was very much looking to work to fight those inequalities. I wanted to cure people. I studied to become a nurse. I've been healing people in prisons, in dispensaries. I've also worked in emergency wards. And after a few years, I loved being a nurse, really, but after a few years, I wanted to change the world at my own level, obviously. But I went back to university and I studied public health policies, the drafting of such policies. Then I worked for AXA for 8 years. At AXA, I was in charge of telemedicine at the international level. We launched the first telemedicine service in France, the first one that was to be authorized in France. We allowed millions of people to have access to healthcare, to have access to a doctor rapidly. So this was the main progress. And then I joined Tok because I wanted to go even further. And Tok is a company that has really chosen to believe that the dire situation in which people in the EHPAD retirement homes are isn't just something you can't do anything about. Tok is a software publisher that works with those EHPAD retirement homes, and we know that telemedicine is something that is a bit difficult to develop, and we know that in those EHPAD retirement homes, people have, on average, 7.9 comorbidities and chronic diseases. People haven't seen a cardiologist for many years. They are having heavy medication and they are not being properly monitored. There is some psychological suffering also. So we've been fighting to this. We've been fighting in order to change things. And just to explain what we do, we have a mobile polyclinic This is part of our structure. And we have salaried nurses. They go and work together with the EHPAD teams because they have telemedicine tools that they can provide those people. We provide solutions and we provide good healthcare solutions to the people in those retirement homes because specialists no longer go to those institutions. Doc works with 250 such sites in France, and we want to develop telemedicine further. We are developing a new job, nurses who are expert in telemedicine. They do high-level things, really, such as cardiac ultrasound with teleguidance together with a cardiologist, and we provide care to people who have had to do without any proper medical care until now. We also work with GPs, because until now GPs had to look after those patients without having the possibility to talk to specialists, and now we're also helping them also. Well, indeed, Lena, Dog's mission was very convincing, and as with Massif, we are now partnering with you. Anne-Céline, same question to you. So to introduce yourself, can you explain how your personal experience and your professional experience has been in line with your own beliefs? And can you also talk about ZEI and the vision that you have for ZEI? Well, yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me today. It all started out when I was at university. I wanted to become an environmental lawyer. It wasn't as fashionable back then as it is today. We talked about regulation for chemical products and industrial sites, but I immediately understood that the environment shouldn't be seen as a constraint, but as a lever to grow, a lever to act, a lever to innovate. And this is the reason why I quite rapidly decided to train in environmental and social responsibility, because this allowed me to work more upstream, because when you're a lawyer, what you do really is solve legal issues, but I wanted to work upstream. This is how it all started out. I started carrying out ESR audits within the family company GL events. This is a family corporation, family-owned business. We implemented CSR measures throughout our company. And those experiences have allowed me to really understand what kind of difficulties people are faced with. Obviously, there are many positive sides to this, but it's also very complex to implement. And it has also allowed me to make everyone aware, all the employees aware of those changes in order for them to be agents of change themselves. This has led me to ZEI, which is my engagement today. I wanted to move faster, to do things better, stronger, and via a digital platform, I wanted to assess the impact on the environment of the strategies adopted by corporations, and wanted the KPIs to be financial, but also non-financial. Thank you, Anne-Céline. Yes, indeed. We do not hold chairs yet, but we're going to think about it, I believe. But we are partners. We have already some companies of our portfolio on this platform in order to see their impact strategy, because as you said, we need indicators, we need KPIs, but we also need to have the right tools, the right equipment, and it's easier to do this if you have a digital tool. Now, Xavier, your turn. Here again, same question. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself. We'd like to know about your own experience, your own beliefs, and what has led you to make that decision and to launch together with your associates a new company, Yota Capital. It's an investment fund, but it's very different from other because it has a true engagement. Well, thank you indeed. I'm very pleased to be here today. Jérôme, you said that I used to be more of a traditional investor. Yes, indeed. My career path had been quite linear, 10 years in a consultancy firm and then 15 years in the investment business. Everything was just nothing special. And then I was working together with Benoit in this investment company, investment fund, and then we started to hear about this new notion, industry of the future, implementing new technologies in the industrial environment. And we gradually realized that this new trend could change the way industries are structured. You know, we were now in a situation where we would have plants and industrial sites in other countries and not so many in France. But then we thought, oh no, plants are part of our fabric, of our regional fabric. They are places where you can create jobs and they are part of our identity. So you have this macroeconomic trend, and we decided that we needed macroeconomic actors. You need entrepreneurs, engineers, but also finances. This is why we decided to set up a specialized fund that we specialize in this industry of the future in order to work and to promote the industrial revitalization of France. But in order for this to be successful, we needed to build it upon a strong environmental basis for it to be accepted, because acceptance is of the essence. So we really needed to really support and help those companies in their decarbonation efforts. This is what we do. We accompany companies. Well, yes, Xavier, obviously, we can see that you're full of energy, that you're very positive. And coming back to what you said, you talk about the fabric of the regions, of the territories in France, the social cohesion. So you have a role to play, you have a raison d'être, a mission, and it's part of your mission at Toyota. You are here to allow for jobs to be created in the French regions. Emily, let me come back to you. So you were a nurse and now you work at Toc Toc Doc. So it's quite an interesting career. And in your case, you've worked in order to allow more people to have access to healthcare. It seems that you really want to help people. You know, we talked about this before this conference. Let me ask you a question. How can you reconcile a profitable business, Toc Toc Doc, and healthcare for the most vulnerable people? Well, I have two main experiences. First, I worked at AXA, as I said, the insurance company. And to be honest with you, the only thing I really want to do is to provide good healthcare to people. But this can be done in a profitable way. When you innovate, you really have to prove that you can have a sustainable economic model. And at AXA, we are in France, and patients, users, do not want to pay for healthcare. They want good quality healthcare. They want accessible healthcare. They want to have access to that healthcare. And the payers are the insurance companies, the mutual insurance companies also. And they wanted to differentiate themselves. And I have nothing against this. No, I find it good for them to do business if this allows people to have access to healthcare solutions. So we are now working on this mobile clinic project. It's a 3-year project. And what we want to prove is that the healthcare scheme in France will also benefit from this, because this will prevent some hospital stays. And we have investors who are backing us, investors who believe in the project, they invest and they support us until the project is financially sustainable. In my view, this is not incompatible. It's not the main objective, but you need to have a sustainable economic model. But at SWEN, we do believe that you can have both. Thank you for your testimonial. And Céline, in a few words, when we prepared this roundtable, we also talked about today's topic, belief for the common good, and you were very spontaneous. I cannot do anything else. That really is what I can do, what I have to do. So can you explain how you feel about this?
Vous l'avez compris.
Well, as you understood, they really is something that I've built throughout all those years. I have gained experience with all my all the things I've done until today. I really am they, if you will. And our objective, our mission is to provide an added value. We want to have a positive impact, and we want to help people when it comes to hiring employees, investing, having a competitive edge. This added value, this belief is something that is a bit difficult to achieve right now because things are accelerating, and this is where I really find the energy to go and convince people, because I really want to change things. I want to shift things and have an impact. I don't want to work only in small ecosystems. I want any structure, and regardless of its size, regardless of its sector, to be able to work with us. Well, very clear indeed. And the fact that you say that you are they really shows how committed you are, because when you do something, you will have to truly believe in what you do. So what about you, Xavier? Let me pick up on this. Are you also Iota, if I may say so? I would like you to also explain whether it was a difficult decision to make, no? When you decided to leave your life at the time in order to create Iota together with your associate. Also, this was at a very specific time with the pandemic. Well, I don't think it was that difficult, but it has taken some time for me to really think about this, to think it throughout. I must say that usually when there are some barriers, those barriers are us, really. Because you're in a comfortable situation, you will have to maybe move away from that comfortable situation. But in my case, I believe that comfort can be risky. Because when you're too comfortable, you fall asleep, you see. And at some point, you will have to be active again. And you will have to be willing to do things differently, do your job, but maybe with another meaning, another kind of energy. So once you've done this reflection work, then it's time to go for it. Well, great then. So let me pick up on Jérôme's question. He mentioned the current health crisis. Obviously, we have to mention the health crisis. And this crisis is probably also making some people stronger. So I'm going to have the question to all three of you. Xavier, you first. What kind of impact is this crisis having on you and Iota? Well, we are currently raising capital, and we started things before the first lockdown. And when we had the first lockdown for approximately 10 days, everything came on hold. And we thought, is it going to end there after 18 months of work? But we're very lucky because no investor defaulted on us, and some of them even decided to invest even more into our project, so we're just very happy about this. Céline, what about you? In our case also, we were very lucky because we were able to complete the process just at the end of the summer, and all the partners were very much involved. So the crisis has had no impact on the company as such. Now, regarding our activity, we work a lot with small businesses, and obviously they are impacted by the current economic situation. And what they are telling us is that those KPIs, those impact KPIs, are not necessarily their main priority right now. But this crisis is acting as a catalyst. It really makes people aware of the fact that this will be a key aspect of our business in the future. So it's a bit paradoxical, if you will, but it's a very positive also in a sense.
Alors Emeline, je pense que toi,
Emeline,
tu as dû être impactée de
I
plein
believe
fouet,
that
nous
you
raconter
were very much impacted by the crisis. Can you explain how DocDoc is going through this crisis? Well, indeed, our company is here to meet people's needs, even without COVID. And during COVID, those needs are even greater. And I don't want to talk about negative aspects, but during the first lockdown, many had retirement homes were closed, and our nurses allowed people to have access to care, to have access to psychiatrists or to dermatologists or other specialists. And I know there were a few shows that talked about the reality. People were isolated, and doctors had to provide oxygen to the patients who couldn't go to hospital. And if you didn't do this properly, you could actually kill them. And when a patient was, going to die, it was a very good thing for the doctors to be able to recourse to a specialist in order to make the right decision. So it is really a meaningful solution, even when there is no COVID. And I would like to really thank my team, our nurses who go to those EHPAD retirement homes. They really provide good care, and I do admire them, and I had to say this today. Thank you. We all admire them, indeed. Yes, I think you were right in thanking them today, and we're also thanking them. Well, thank you, everyone, for your testimonials. You are truly committed people. Thank you for being here today. Now we're going to ask you to go backstage, if you will. Thank you once more. Thank you.